Okay. We are live. And let's see. I need to figure out how to add another guest. Where is the? Oh, I see. Okay. So let me send this. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
This is. I want to just start and preface this by saying this is a bit of an experiment, and so we are learning as we go. My name is Chris Messina. I am the host of this live stream, so I want to thank you guys for being here today. We are here joined by Claudiu from Reeview. We are trying to get Nikki from Reeview also to join, and so if you see us kind of like frantically typing around, that's kind of what's going on, but we are going to get underway very shortly. Let's see. So, okay, and I'll let you guys know a little bit about the agenda today. So this is our very first ever Product Hunt live stream. The idea for this basically is to take a lot of what I do on the regular basis, which is hunt products, launching them, to the world, and to go behind the scenes with the makers and creators of these apps and products to learn from them in terms of what problems they're trying to solve, in terms of their own insights and their journey for building these things, and to really kind of bring to life what are essentially like entries into a database on Product Hunt when there's really a bunch of really, really interesting people behind the scenes making it happen. So that's kind of what we're doing today. Interesting. Okay, so Nikki is still having an issue, but why don't I talk to Nikki, and Claudiu, you can sort of bring us into Reeview. If you want to actually go into the chat and share, let's share a link to the Product Hunt.
I think that would be great, Chris.
Yeah, let me grab that, and then you can dive in. Let's see.
There we go. Nikki's in.
Okay.
Oh, she is.
Hey.
Okay, great.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. Okay.
It is the first
Welcome.
time, right? It is an experiment, so we're trying to make this happen the best way we can.
Yes. Oh, and Nima is here from Iran. He is. I don't even know what time of the day there, but he pops in every now and then to my Twitter Spaces and things like that. So it's nice to see some familiar faces. We also have Fateh here from SuperPeer, so he is actually watching. And if we do have any problems, or Nikki, if you lose the stream again, we can talk to him about this. But
it's great.
All right. Why don't you guys kick it off? Why don't you introduce yourselves in terms of who you are, your relationship to Reeview, and then let's talk about this hunt.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris. And it's good to have Nichole here. We wouldn't start without you, Nichole, so don't worry. As Chris mentioned, I am. My name is Claudiu Cioba. I am the founder of Reeview app. I'm a product designer, and I've been a product designer for the past 13, 14 years. Started with Macromedia Flash, and then worked all the way up to modern design. To modern day design. I had the opportunity to work with big companies such as Uber and tons of enterprise SaaS for which I helped them design their products, redesign products, and help them raise funding or exit. And I recently met Nichole this year, and she's been amazing at helping me to market the product. And she also joined as our CMO. So Nichole, I'm going to let you introduce yourself now.
Thank you for that warm welcome. I have been in tech for over 20 years. So I was that preteen who was on the internet creating websites in the 90s. And I was one of the only people in my high school who had an internet connection. So it kind of all started from there for me in terms of getting into tech. And I used to design websites, and I did SEO for a long time. I went to college for psychology, and then I went right back into tech. Didn't do much with psych, and did SEO for a long time. And then I co-ran a SaaS marketing agency with Trevor Hatfield. And then I kind of went on and my own thing for a while as a B2B SaaS consultant, and worked at different communities like Product Hunt, Zest, Inbound, etc. And be here.
Thank you, Nikki.
Hey, can you speak to your background with Product Hunt? Like I think that's interesting. Obviously, like you and I sort of know each other through that world, but can you talk a little bit about just what you did, for and with them?
Sure. So Eric used to be the co-founder with Ryan, and Eric was kind of helping with community. I think I was technically the first community manager at Product Hunt, after Eric really had to take on being a co-founder role. Because when you join, when you have a startup, you kind of do everything in the beginning until you bring a team on. So yeah, I was pretty much the first community manager there. I met Ryan through shared taste in music. That's how I meet a lot of people, actually, through different shared interests that don't have anything really to do with tech. And I had already done community at Growth Hackers, and it's what I love to do. So I just joined there, and yeah, it was really intense because I was part of the not part of the founding team. I was part of I was a member of a team member of the founding team, I guess you'd say. I didn't help found Product Hunt, but I was on that original. Yeah, and we were constantly in the news, and it was just so much going on all the time. I'm sure they still have that now, but in the very beginning, that was intense. You didn't really know what to expect and what was going to happen the next day and the next. So it's changed my entire life, and I'm sure yours as well. Just having this community in your life, it's a part of my everyday life for years now. And it's just really, I've met so many tremendous people through it, and like you, I'm talking to the guy that invented the hashtag. How crazy is that? So yeah, it's a huge part of my life still, even though I'm not working there right now. But
what era, or what were the years for that?
Oh gosh. So see, I think I was at Growth Hackers in 2013. So sometime after that, I've done so much community stuff that I don't have exactly. I would have to look at my LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure.
I think so what'll be another interesting element, I think, to this conversation, especially for folks joining who are either thinking about launching on Product Hunt or have launched on Product Hunt or just part of that extended community. I think for you guys, it'll be really interesting for you to, one, talk about the lead up to your launch, what you're experiencing so far. I haven't checked recently, but I know you guys are doing pretty well on the leaderboard today. I think right now it's number 3, which is pretty great. And then just maybe how things have changed and evolved and how to think about launching on Product Hunt and what role that serves in your overall journey. But in any case, yeah, Claudiu has not been sleeping at all. So that's one of the things you could look forward to or not.
Exactly.
But I don't want to take it away from Claudiu's story here. So I will invite folks who are tuning in now and are watching. If you do have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. But now, okay, Claudiu, why don't you tell us more about how Reeview came to be and your journey to getting here, given today's launch.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. So I'm going to give you a bit of a background story on how Reeview started from a very basic idea to an actually, fully funded product that it's launching, today on one platform and then, next month on other platforms and so forth. I think it all started from my own shopping behavior. Whenever I purchased things online, I just went to YouTube and watched unboxing videos. And, just because of that, I was wondering, why do online stores, why don't they have those videos on their store, on their product pages, right? But this was 2 years ago. Nothing happened since, right? I kept on, doing the stuff that I was doing. And I think it was in May in 2020 when Google posted on thinkgoogle.com, which is a blog that Google has with all sorts of data about their products. It's a very data-driven blog. And they posted something about shopping and e-commerce in general and its relationship with YouTube and Google. And some of those stats really amazed me. And I remember one of them really well that just stuck to me, which was that more than 40%, than 50% of shoppers actually go to YouTube, to do product research when they make a purchasing decision. And I was like, okay, I'm not the only guy, that watches those unboxing videos. And okay, so a lot of other people are already doing this, right? And it all started from that, from that moment. And over the summer, we were in lockdown. like probably, everyone else in the world, and there was nothing to do, or go to. So I started building a very quick prototype of a video widget, which was just a very small floating widget that a lot of other startups actually do today. And you could only place it on a landing page, so on any website. And I tested it on my friend Brian Moran, who's the CEO of Samcart. And I was collaborating, as a contractor with them at the time, and he was very successfully at selling webinars. And I told him, hey, will you allow me to put this widget, on your website for 2 weeks? Let's see how it does in terms of click-throughs and engagement. And he's a very nice guy, and he said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And we put the widget on his webinar landing page, and it actually performed really well. Like, we saw a lot of engagement. People were watching the videos. And it was very simple, like extremely simple. All it was like a rectangle with some text on it that says, "Hear from people who succeeded." That's it, right? And it had a few video testimonials. But we got more than 15% click-through rate, and we added, I think it was about a week time in terms of total hours, during time on site during those 2 weeks, that we tested it on. So people spent a lot of time on his landing page, which for us was great. I didn't have any crazy tracking analytics back then. I could not track orders. I could not track anything. Like, it was extremely basic, right? Like, very, very basic. And I saw the opportunity, and I bootstrapped it myself. I hired 2 of my friends, and I asked them, let's build something for e-commerce. And the initial idea was, that there's so much content on YouTube and nobody's leveraging it. Nobody's taking advantage of all of that content that's laying around out there. There were some other startups that were doing something in the space. There were startups that failed. Like, I did a lot of research. To make sure, like, is anyone doing this? Is anyone like actually exploring this? And there was a startup from Greece that they raised money. They raised 2 million euros, and I think this was in 2016 or 2015, and then they failed in 2017. And I know what they failed, and I think the timing was off. Timing was
it just the timing, or was it more than that?
Well, I actually I tracked the CEO down, and even then their head of sales, and I talked with them personally and asked them, like, what went wrong, right? And this was their reply: timing. First of all, it was timing. So timing was pretty bad from what they said, and they also spent like crazy on offices in London. And when you spend like that, like 2 million euros go like really fast in just half a year or a year. So. And that's something that, it's not part of our culture. We're a fully remote company. I've been working remote all my life as a contractor. I'm used to traveling to either London or the States, to work, but most of the time I'm at my home office. And
where are you based again?
So I'm talking right now from the heart of Transylvania. It's probably like 2 hours away from Dracula's castle. And I usually use this intro a lot with people because they're really amazed, that I'm so close. And but it's a town called Sibiu. A very beautiful mountain town, small medieval town, but very beautiful. So this is where I'm talking from. But yeah, that's where it all started. I bootstrapped the idea with 2 developers, and then I built an integration with Shopify, which wasn't that hard to do. The hardest part, I think, was becoming a YouTube compliant partner, which YouTube doesn't do very likely and doesn't offer their API to everyone. You have to go through certain audits. They have to check you. You need to have a really good reason why you're going to be accessing their API and scraping their database, for millions of videos. So they started by giving me just very small access, like a very small amount of access. So I think I was able to scrape YouTube for 100,000 products, I think, in a month or something like that.
I think this is like an interesting, important point. When you say scrape, like actually scrape, because my assumption is that if you're accessing the API, you're getting actual data.
I'm getting actual data, yes.
Okay, so it wasn't really scraping in the web scraping sense. Okay.
Well, we did some scraping in the beginning, but then, I thought it was very risky because,
Yes.
Google has some very good security measures. And I was like, no, this is not going to fly. This is not scalable. I need a partnership with Google in this.
Yeah.
So I've been in discussions with YouTube. I think it took about 2 months or a month and a half, 2 months, something like that, 6 weeks, until we actually got the partnership and they gave us the credits. YouTube API, has a certain number of credits that they allow developers to use. And we developed a very basic, I wouldn't even call it an AI, I would just call it some conditions, So when we
The end statements, is that what you mean? AI.
I mean, everyone uses the term AI. We've got an AI platform. We don't have an AI platform. You're just using it for marketing. So I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to be that type of guy.
Sure.
We started with some very basic conditions that would filter all of the YouTube results that we found. So we took in consideration certain things like number of likes, number of views, the video quality. Is this an authentic video? Like, is it coming from a person with few subscribers, with lots of subscribers? So we had all of these conditions in place so that we could, generate really good results when we would searching YouTube for product names. And one day I was showing my product to a friend of mine who's also been a mentor, and he was a former employer of mine. He used to own a startup called Friend.ly, Friendly. This was 10 years ago. I was the lead designer for this company, and it was purchased by Facebook. I was just there for 6 months, and I redesigned their whole product. And after 1 month of redesigning their product, Facebook approached them because it started looking good, and they were very interested. They also had massive growth in terms of users. So ad was amazing at growth, at virality, and just spreading it out there.
The concept of Friendly?
It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a dating social network. It was a social network about answering questions and asking questions to people. And it was very engaging, but their success story was behind the ability to do viral sharing on Facebook. Like back then, 10 years ago, Facebook wasn't as controlled in terms of sharing, and you could mention people, you could tag people, and you would get this viral effect when you would do that, right? Because they would get notifications and they would do it.
Well, that was the whole Zynga play.
Exactly. It was that time, right? It was back in the days.
So was this specifically a Facebook app that lived inside of the Facebook app universe? No, it was separate.
It was
but still,
but it was sharing on Facebook. It did a lot of Facebook sharing, and
that was the glory days of the Facebook platform,
right?
Okay,
remember when Zynga was really big? They were probably half the percent of Facebook.
Poked a lot of people and threw a lot of cows. I remember, yes.
So I was part of that. I was part of his company. I was the lead designer. He was very generous with me in terms of compensation. I remember I had a 4-year vesting period. And I honestly don't remember, but I remember getting a really, big amount just from that acquisition that I did not deserve, right? I did not deserve. I was supposed to wait 4 years or something, and he was very generous. And I didn't end up going to Facebook. He went out there and he became vice president of growth at Facebook. And then he also, after Facebook, he went to Uber, and he led the growth team, and he was president of growth at Uber. I worked with him at Uber, I think it was in 2016, with his growth team on the sign-up process. So we collaborated again. Last year.
The name of this person?
Ed Baker.
Yes.
Ed Baker. He's also a super athlete. Yes. He's a super athlete.
Yes.
I mean, he won the first triathlon that he ever participated in. He is amazing. So if you're looking for fitness advice, or if you're looking, for a really amazing person in terms of workouts and fitness, Ed Baker's the guy. He's absolutely amazing. He's also an investor in Whoop, another great company, that became a unicorn. And this autumn in September, I was showing him this product doing one of our catch-ups, and it wasn't even a pitch. It wasn't nothing. I was just showing him what are you up to, Claudiu? I'm doing this and that. And I was telling him that I'm working on this e-commerce product, and he loved the concept. He absolutely loved the concept. And he said, let's build it. What do you need? And as a founder, that's what you usually are looking for. You're looking for that question when you're talking, with a big exec, like a Silicon Valley exec like that. When they ask you, what do you need? That's the best sign that you can hope for. So I told him, I need more devs, right? That's what you need. You need a better engineering team. And he offered to pre-seed this with 150K. So I raised 150K, and we established a Delaware Corp in September. So we got all the paperwork done correctly, and I strongly recommend, for all of the founders that you get your paperwork done correctly, so that you don't have any red flags later down the road. Paperwork is extremely important. It might cost a bit, but trust me, it's an investment in your company's future, and you should do it early in the process. I'm so happy that I did this, back then, right now, at this stage. I'm really, really happy. So that was in September, and then we, I started building. Obviously, I had a bit of cash. I didn't need to put my own cash in. I stopped all of my contracting work and I started building Reeview. And by December, we had an MVP that was integrated already with 3 e-commerce platforms, Shopify, WooCommerce, and Magento. It was approved on all 3 marketplaces. We took a break in December because of Christmas, and it was another like wave of COVID in my country, and I think it was like a 2-week break from actually building. And then in January, we put it on the Shopify App Store as a test. Let's see what's going to happen. And I'm not going to lie, it wasn't good. Like the first week, nothing happened. And I
okay, so like, given that we're talking about like a product hunt launch today, like what did or didn't you do around that launch that you learn from and maybe would suggest that other people try something different?
So,
and also like timing, launching a shopping app in January is a curious time to launch.
Yes. So first of all, it wasn't a proper launch. It was me testing, the product market fit. That was the whole purpose. Do we have product market fit? That was my objective. And I didn't do any marketing outreach, by the way. There was no marketing outreach. I did not started like doing tweets or ads, or I didn't even have Nichole back then. It was just me and my 3 engineers. That's it. So it was just, a bunch of people. But we just, timing is also very important. Don't put an app, on Shopify after Christmas because, that's their low month, like January and February, especially is like usually a low month for e-commerce. But nothing happens for about a week or 15 days. I don't know. I think, so I have a glass wall right next to me and it was like my mood board. And I remember having like 5 installs, 1 active customer, 4 uninstalls. And I just want to tell everyone this, so that, that beginnings are very humble, right? Like they're very simple. They're very humble. You won't get, immediate success out of it. But I don't know, something just happened afterwards. And I think it was towards the end of the month, things started like picking up. And I started seeing 1 install every 2 days, 1 install per day, 2 installs per day, 3 installs per day. And all of a sudden by like mid-February, we got like over 100 stores that were testing out the app. That was amazing. I was very discouraged in January, by the way. So I didn't like felt good. I was like, okay, this is not working. And I'm the type of founder, when I took Ed's money, even though it was like, he was risking his own funding, right? It wasn't like debt or anything like that, but he was still my friend, and he was giving me, funding to be able to pursue this idea. And I almost felt like obliged to make it happen, like he believed in me, right? And, I wanted to live up to his expectations because I look up to him so much. So I really did my best. And one important thing that we're also going to talk about, I think, in our design and cocktails and people should learn about is, you study your users. That's how we got to like 2-3 stores a day. Initially, it was very, very slow, and I studied our users and I realized there was a problem in our onboarding. People didn't quite understood like what was going on because the beta was very simple. There was no onboarding pretty much. You just installed it and it was like, here you go. This is the app. Use it. Do you know how to use it? It didn't ask you, right? There was no tutorial. I used Hotjar just to see heat maps, and recordings and where people were clicking and their paths. I was also using Google Analytics for this and to monitor my audience. And I learned from them and I made like just very small adjustments very quickly in a matter of like a few days. And then, everyone that installed, the churn rate wasn't as high. Like before these small
the core issues that you were noticing that you were out of using these analytics tools.
So the core issue was the onboarding. Like they didn't know like what is this app about? What am I supposed to do after I installed it? Most of people expected that all of our YouTube results are perfect. They didn't even have to check them. Like there was no moderation. They just like published it, right? Like, oh, it has to work.
So let me try to unpack this because it sounds like someone would organically discover this through the Shopify kind of app store. And by the way, I did offer the link if you guys want to go check it out and install it into your own store, if you happen to have one. They would do that and then have this magical idea, maybe because, they read something about AI and they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to like drop all the videos of reviews of my product onto my store. Now, I want to ask 2 questions. One is about the likeliness that the reviews that are automatically aggregated by Reeview with 2 E's actually pertain to the products that they were selling, right? So to me, I would think that like, because when someone posts a review, they may or may not actually provide any useful metadata to be like, this is the actual product that's associated with the store. It's like, I'm reviewing shoes. Now, unless you have a very unique product, it's going to be hard to sort of know that that video is actually correlated with your products. So that's one issue. In other words, all the videos that Reeview would gather may or may not actually relate to your product. And then the second issue is quality and curation, right? So just because maybe this is a review of your product, maybe the quality of the review itself is actually like crap. So
right.
How much of that relates to this onboarding problem where people just kind of thought, oh, I turn it on and instantly I have the best, most amazing reviews of only videos that pertain to my products versus, I don't know, any other problems that you might have wanted to address through onboarding?
Absolutely, Chris. Those are all good questions. I think this is going to be very insightful for our audience. So to answer your first question in terms of the accuracy of the results, right? There are certain industries such as, computers, gadgets, cosmetics, pharmaceutical, home and construction equipment, sports equipment, and all sorts of like sports accessories that we had monitored a above 70% accuracy rate in terms of our like video reviews that we found, right? However, there are other industries such as the fashion industry where if you search Google for a white t-shirt, you're not going to get anything. Or like, we had a very good test with a friend of mine from Lock Laces. This was the name of the store. And they were testing our app in our store, and they had products like black laces. I was like, well, like how are we going to find relevant videos for these guys, when their product name is black laces? And all that we did was search for product name, right? So one thing that we've done is inside the onboarding process, we asked them a question immediately when they installed the store. Are you a brand selling your own products, or are you a retailer selling multiple brands, multiple types of products? And this question was very, very important because it set expectations. And for Lock Laces, they were obviously a brand. And by the way, they have it right now uninstalled because we're working on something separate with them. But it's very good that you provided them some context.
Well, so why don't you just provide, because when you and I had this conversation prior to your launch and you were talking about Lock Laces, I had no idea what you were talking about. So just what are Lock Laces?
Oh, Lock Laces. I think they're like lacing laces. They hold your shoes, very tight.
It's like zippers, but made of strings.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's not a technical term, and I just made that up.
I think it's a very cool product, by the way. I think it's a very, very cool product.
If you have any trouble tying your shoes,
go to Lock Laces.
This is the product for you. Yes, exactly. Yes. If you struggle with shoelace tying, this product was designed for you. Talk about product market fit, right? So anyways, continue.
Absolutely. So by offering, that question, which was a fork in the decision-making at the beginning of the installation of the app, Lock Laces would choose that they're a brand. So when we would do the search on YouTube, we would also include their brand name. And we saw an immediate change in results. So, it was like an instant shift. Like we were getting, good results. However, we still had to set up the expectations for people, right? Like this, I think this was the main challenge at the beginning, like setting up the right expectations. Because
So let me pause you there because I want to unpack this again because I think this is like a really important pivotal point. And I in the conversations that I have with people who want to launch on Product Hunt, there's a constant question of who is your customer and are you sort of aiming too broadly is an oxymoron, right? Lock Laces is not a sponsor, no, just to be clear.
No.
But they are sort of a partner of Reeview. And in this case, what I think is interesting is you started out fairly broad in the sense of, do you want to add video reviews to your Shopify store?
Right.
And what you've narrowed in on through this sort of experimental launch and observing people's behavior is you came to realize that there are people who are selling other people's products and are therefore not brands. And there are people who are brands and are interested in getting the reviews that pertain to their particular version of a product or something. And so I guess my question is, you then chose to create this onboarding where you ask the person who's signing up, do you represent a brand or are you just a reseller or a retailer? And then my question really is, and so has that changed who you're actually offering your product to, or are you still trying to appeal to both of those audiences?
No, we are very appealing to both of those audiences. It did not change our audience in any way so we do have two types of audience and two types of customers for our product, but that's not the segmentation for those types of, customers. In terms of segmentation, we appeal to both small stores, so SMBs, and there is a certain product value that, Reeview offers for those really small stores. And the main product value for those small stores is instant social proof. So the fact that you can just install it free, you're going to get results from YouTube. You can moderate those results, just go through them, see which ones fit, remove, rearrange, add whatever. You can also add any video from YouTube by embedding it very easily, and then place a widget on your website. Like the floating widget doesn't require copying a snippet and your theme or any technical knowledge, so it's a no-code solution. You just publish it, right? For a small store, for a person who's just getting started with Shopify, that's instant social proof. If we can find user-generated video reviews on YouTube about your product, that is instant social.
Yeah, let me pause you there too, because I think like it's important just to conceptualize what it is that you're doing. And on the one hand, right, it seems so obvious. And at the same time, one, this doesn't exist for some reason, or perhaps there were other efforts, that existed, before, right? And what I want to point out, and what I think is so useful, is to think about like the kind of real world analogs that we are at once trying to replace in the digital realm, like with e-commerce, right? Which is becoming just commerce. The idea is that you go into a small shop, right? Which is on Shopify. The Shopify seller maybe aggregates, maybe they're an outdoor shop, right? So it's like someone who has a passion for the outdoors. Lock Laces happens to be one of the brands that they sell. Maybe they also sell backpacks. They sell Peak Design stuff, which is one of my favorite brands. They've got a bunch of these different things and they're selling them through their Shopify store. And what these Shopify stores lack is, any kind of person that happens to be waiting around to answer your questions about things. So instead of hiring a person like a sales associate to be there to answer your questions, instead what you're able to do is to, you could in theory, but they'd be waiting around quite a long time, right, is to basically take these assets, which are on YouTube, which are coming from first-person testimonials, and to bring them into the context of that person's small store. And then you can instantly see, how do people out in the world think about this stuff? Now, I guess I want to draw a distinction to some degree, which is that Shopify stores, and granted, I've never set one up, but I'm sort of just, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Sure.
Shopify stores allow anybody to kind of create their own, storefront, right? And then to sell products. Now on Amazon, in contrast, if I go to an Amazon page, Amazon has first party, widgets that are effectively integrated into the page, yes, with reviews, with comments, with videos, etc. And so because Shopify sellers are not Amazon and they don't have a team of developers building this, the whole idea is that you're providing one more set of kind of bespoke Legos to embellish or improve that Shopify seller's store with features that they find are relevant or useful.
Exactly.
Is that roughly describing kind of like the space?
Yes, you are precisely correct. Our product, our app enriches the product pages and it enriches the shopping experience. So as you mentioned, most stores, and I think this is the major, the majority of the stores, what they show on their pages, and this is your typical product page, right? You got your product photo on the left, you got the product details on the right side. You go down, you got some more instructions about the product or a short description, maybe some more photography, but very few even have, more photography, because you would need to purchase a separate theme, to be able to have that custom layout for the product page. And then down at the very page, you would have an app for text reviews and photo reviews, such as, yacht pole, looks, stamps. So many products provide text and photo reviews. But the problem with that, with the text and photo reviews is, I agree that both text and photo are crucial to the shopping experience. I think they're very important. But at the same time, for online stores, when you grow, they start to become hard to manage because they do not provide a true AI solution to moderate all of that content, all of those reviews. And so if there are any store owners, that are listening, I'm not sure, they're just 18 people, but they will know that they will have endless queues of text reviews, from people. So that will be very, very hard to manage. They do provide some filtering, for their ratings, like, do you just want to publish 5-star ratings? Do you don't want to publish those ratings, right? But in terms of actually using video, some of those collect video, but they still show it in a very small thumbnail right down there, the bottom of the page, where what our product does.
A demo of this, I feel like people want to see this. They want to see how big these videos are and to get a sense for it. Or maybe on the review site, there's
I would
images.
love to show them the actual app and how it looks on an actual store. So
you can go ahead. You can share your screen actually if you want.
Sure, I'd love to do that. So just disclaimer, I'm showing this on the test store with one product because I don't want to show any products for my customers.
Right, totally.
Yeah, let me just.
Very reasonable.
Thank
Very
you.
reasonable. Yes.
So
Okay, great.
Can you see my screen right now?
Yes. So just for any of the viewers, if you look over on the left side of your screen, you'll see sort of like the list of thumbnails. At least for me, the very bottom thumbnail is Claudiu's screen. And so if you click on that, you'll be able to see it. And if you go full screen, you might actually, Claudiu, you might want to increase your font size just a little bit.
Maybe like make my window.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yep.
Is that good?
Cool. I think that works.
Amazing.
Great.
So
now we're actually inside of Review. So that's what's happened now.
So you're
that's what we're seeing.
Inside of the app, and I already have a store connected in here that has a pair of Bose headphones. By the way, Bose is not a sponsor. I just added this randomly. And we're on the Moderate tab. Before, this tab was called the Products tab. And that was another confusing thing that I'm going to get into design and cocktails, and I'm going to tell you about lessons I've learned and people's perceptions about products and how you have to quickly do iterations and get feedback from your customers. Like, I used to call almost all my customers. I tried to call almost all of them to get them on the phone, talk to them, and get their feedback. And by getting their feedback, you can quickly iterate and produce, better results. So on the Moderate tab, you're going to see a list of all of the products that we automatically.
I want to see the widget in context first, and then we can show the back end. Okay, perfect. Great.
Here we go. So let me just refresh this page. By the way, there's going to be like a small Shopify disclaimer because I'm logged in with Shopify. So you'll not see that on an actual store. And that's why I've moved the widget a few pixels up, because you can control the position of the widget on the screen. So I'm using a floating widget, one of our floating widgets. We offer 3 themes on launch day that are, floating widget themes. And these are one of the highest converting floating widgets, that we've had, simply because of the real estate that occupies and not covering the call to action button. And that was even like one of my main goals.
And by the way, I want to clarify something that we're looking at too. So the theme here, the Shopify theme, is not Review. If you look in the bottom left corner where there is that video playing, that is Review. So it's a subtle distinction where Review is a little bit like a white labeled kind of enhancement to a store. And so when you're seeing this, like, the point is not to look at like, oh wow, this is a very ugly store. It's to look at, oh my God, there's like a great video review, which hopefully will enhance the shopper's decision-making process in deciding to buy this. Now, granted, we're also looking at a product which is sold out, which is its own problem, but let's pretend that this product is both for sale and it's
exactly. I did not want to feature the store, so I didn't want the store to be distracted.
Yeah. Totally fine.
Super simple.
Just helping everyone, understand what is they're looking at.
Right, just to get a bit more context. So this is one of our floating widget themes. We also offer an option to autoplay the video on mute inside that container. And this is going to increase engagement by a lot. Like, you're going to get a lot more clicks.
Happening right now, the video is basically playing on mute?
Yes, okay. This is playing. Yeah, this is already playing. And our widget loads really, really fast. Like, this is one of my main concerns. A lot of Shopify stores have so many widgets installed on them, so that when you get onto a page, it's like back in the 2000s, when those, the kitsch websites start appearing, all sorts of like widgets, and so I feel like we're going back to that era, and I wish people would try to focus and use more elegant widgets, and just be more mindful about the stuff that they add onto their store, because it'll affect load speed, right? So we try to keep a very small package with our video widget that loads really, really fast. In terms of the actual video player, when you click on this widget, I think the sound is going to go on. I'm just going to mute this. So one thing that you'll notice is our video player still does not cover the add to cart button. This is one of our video player. We offer multiple video players. This is the side drawer video player, which just slides in from left to right and shows the video player from YouTube. And on the bottom, you have a playlist with other videos that you have selected as approved videos for this product, and you can watch these videos. Okay,
let me pause you and unpack that too, because this is really important, right? Now, the look of this looks quite a bit like YouTube, but this widget is actually being provided by Review. So you have this like super slick, moving in and out, where you've got like that little thumbnail down below where it's sort of a person describing the product, and then you tap on the widget opens up, and then you see the video that was playing, and then right below that, you have other relevant videos. Now, those relevant videos, just to preempt you a little bit, I'm guessing we're going to see in the Review dashboard.
Exactly.
Because those are selected not by YouTube or by the YouTube algorithm, but by the shopkeeper.
So they're actually suggested by the YouTube algorithm.
Oh, they are? Okay.
The shopkeeper approves them. So we do see these videos.
Great.
Right now, I'm in the app on this product. I'm looking at this product, and there are 2 sections for this product. We also solicit video reviews, yes, and I can get into collecting video reviews from new customers as well. Our product started with finding video reviews from YouTube. That's how we started in the beta phase. But then we quickly learned that bigger customers and large brands care more about owning copyright ownership over the video content from their customers. So that's why we've added collect video reviews. And if the time permits us, I'm going to go into that as well, because I think this is the future as well, for Reeview. YouTube is one part, it's just half of it, but collecting video reviews is another part. So on your product page, for each product, we find the videos and then we sync the videos with the product. So you have on top your approved videos. You can just reorder the videos that are approved, so you can set any order to it. Now you might be wondering that there are just 6 thumbnails, like there are 5, but there's another place for one more, like 6. The reason why I opted for 6, I had like 20 in the beginning. But what I've learned is that people don't watch 20 videos on a product page. Most people watch probably 3 videos max. I haven't seen a shopper to watch videos.
So but one thing that I'd be wondering about, though, I hear and agree with the assessment that probably people don't watch more than 2 to 3 videos to make a decision. But if they see more videos, more options, does that act as more social proof? Do you have any, have you done any data or no?
No, the only data that I have is the amount of videos watched by a shopper on our widgets. And I know that they don't watch more than 3 videos. Like nobody ever watched more than 3 videos. Yeah.
And so, but you made the executive decision then from a product perspective, just allow up to 6 videos to be shown that are kind of like the best, that are curated by the shopkeeper.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Cool.
But yes, our data showed that most users watch at a rate of 1.8 videos. So almost 2 videos per product. That's our rate, 1.8.
Actually, can you unpack that too? When you say 1.8, does that mean that people are grazing and they're watching a portion of the video? Do you have a sense for what duration or percentage of each video they're watching?
Yes. So on average, a shopper watches 1.8 videos, which means that on average, they watch more than 1 video. And on average, in terms of time spent on watching the video, we have 2 minutes. That's our average time. It's close to 2 minutes. It's a minute, I think, and 49 seconds. It's close to 2 minutes. However, we have clients that have 5 minutes of watch time. I'm not sure, and their video content is not that great. It's like really authentic, I guess, from just regular people showing the product, and that's it. But those people have 5 minutes of view time on their pages, like on average, which for me, was like, what videos are you showing that you're generating this sort of engagement? And it's just authentic video, non-sponsored videos. So those were really, really well. So going back to the structure of this page and just, what you're allowed to do in Reeview with the YouTube results that we suggest is we only suggest when you install the app as an approved video, 1 video, because we don't want to overwhelm you with like 6. You have a lot of video suggestions on the bottom and you can get those video suggestions. And this depends from product to product, right? On some products, we might find like 20 videos. On some products, we might find like 2 or 3. It depends, right? On the type of product and the industry. You also have some performance metrics like the page views, the time spent on that page and so forth. And there's also a feature to be able to add a YouTube video, so you can just paste a YouTube URL, because what I've learned, and this is something that I've learned as well, is
I was wondering this. I was like, okay, so this is great. You got some suggestions, but what if I have a video that I want to see?
Yes. Yeah. So what I've learned is that a lot of storekeepers, they will keep their video reviews hosted on YouTube, but as private, not as public listed videos. So you can actually paste in your YouTube URL, which is set as private and it's not listed as public, and then you can still show it and play it on your store. Now, one cool thing that I want to show the audience about our widget, about our floating widget, is this widget is smart. It detects how much content, like how many videos you've gave it, to show, and it will adapt that amount of content. So right now we have lots of videos, right? So this is a full, almost like a full screen experience on the side of your, of your window that opens up. What happens if I start, let's say I start removing these and I just have 1? Obviously, that player will look very bad on the screen and half of the screen would be empty, right? Because of the playlist. So I'm going to refresh the page. You don't even have to do anything. It's already saved. So all you have to do is remove those videos and it's saved. And when I click on the video widget again, the player automatically adapts to a very small player, right? So it's not taking up the entire portion of the screen on the side. It's just taking up the bottom corner, right? And you still have the same experience of seeing a big, beautiful video that offers the same social proof for your product. And this is we do this automatically, very simple, very, there's nothing on your part that you have to do. You just approve the videos that you want to approve, that you want to feature on your store. And then the next step, and I'm going to go into the customization of the video widget, is you're going to have to publish the video widget once you've selected the theme. Now, I have several themes over here, and I actually had some other ones that didn't look as good, and we ditched them for the launch. We're just keeping these, but we're going to add a lot more themes because there's so many visual solutions of showing video on a website that, I mean, for me, I love this job because I'm a designer and this is a visual product. So, I can get really creative. And we are right now establishing partnerships with some of the lead theme designers on Shopify. And we are integrating our product within their themes. So for all Shopify owners that use and that have previously purchased all of the premium themes, we're going to be integrated with them, so that we make sure, that we're going to look good on those themes, no matter what.
So, by the way, we've got a few questions
sure.
coming in, and I love the engagement, guys. The questions are awesome. Really cool to see. Andy's excited about it too. He's asking whether or not you could default captions to be on. I noticed that there's a video player thing on the left there. I kind of want to go click on that and see what that shows. And then there's another question about whether you could actually feature or highlight videos that are unsponsored. In other words, like authentic, from the community. Is there a way to differentiate between those which are sponsored, which are not?
I can answer both of those questions. So my answer to the first one is, in terms of customization with the captions, you're in full control over, what text is going to be shown on the widget. So you don't want any text, you just delete the text, or you write any text you want. You can also add a text background, which can change the color. So you can make it as call to action-y and attractive, almost like a click magnet as you want to, if you want to do that.
But you can't enable closed captions.
No, not right now. You cannot enable closed captions. That could be a very useful feature to be able.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Right? I think I'm seeing that increasingly on other platforms.
Note of that.
Great.
One thing that I want to share with our audience that we're working on is geolocation, which will be launched by the end of the month. So, in the moderate tab, and this is just an exclusive preview because I want to.
Wait, are you talking language, or when you say geo?
Language, yes,
okay,
language.
Cool.
So, based on your shopper's location, you can approve multiple videos for different languages. So you can approve your English videos, your Spanish videos, your Romanian videos, your German videos. And if somebody's visiting from Germany, they're going to see German video reviews for your product. This is feedback that we got from retail enterprise stores, which have millions of visitors from all around the world, and they want to show relevant content for that audience, right? In terms of for the second question, for the on and off filter to highlight unsponsored video, I'm also going to give you an insight into our product. Even though we have an AI, quotes, foundation, as Chris said, I wouldn't call it an AI, and we're not marketing it as an AI right now. We are building an AI that will help into moderating these videos and also in the collecting of the videos. And what our AI will do is, one of the features is going to be just that. The AI will be fully configurable so that you're going to be able to drill down into the search results on YouTube and just pick whatever videos you'd like. And in the future, because every 30 days, by the way, we're updating this content. So we're running another search every 30 days to see if we can find other relevant videos for your products. And the AI will learn based on your features, and it's just going to run, different searches.
Do you proactively ping the shopkeepers to say, hey, some new content that you should come in and take a look at? Or is it more I guess I'm just curious, if it's real time, or it's there's a new review that was posted and you really want to get it up to your site, or if it's the kind of thing where, you periodically go in and you kind of take a look and see, and you're okay, let's add these to the product pages because they're fresher or, just, better.
So right now we just refresh the content every 30 days because we also check for broken links. So
I see.
That's one important part of our business. If there's a broken link in your video, we do not want to show that on your product pages, right? So it's not going to be displayed in that case. So every 30 days, we're refreshing, all of our links and checking for new content. And if we find new content, we're going to suggest it,
Okay, so sorry, to go back to, because I think this is interesting, where there's sort of a protective aspect of using review so that you don't end up with kind of like a blank or an empty. Although, of course, if there aren't any reviews that have been added to a product, then it wouldn't show up. But in the case of language matching, that seems pretty important, right? So are you able to get a language hint from the browser? And then if someone, speaks Romanian but not English, but you only have English language videos, then essentially the widget is smart enough to say, sorry, I don't have any, content in your language, so I'm just not going to show.
So there's actually an option in the AI that we're building. So an option. Great. If there are videos, there's an if condition. If there are videos, for that certain language, for German, show them the video. And then you have the option. What if there are no, videos for that product, for the language? Do you still want to show them English, which is your main language, that's set up? If you choose to do that, again, it's fully configurable and you're in full control over what you're allowed to do. That's what we're building. We're hoping to launching this in about 6 weeks. That's what's on our roadmap.
Awesome. Cool. So there was one more quick question too that I thought was kind of interesting. Do you have a sense for, and Andy asked this, whether or not persisting the YouTube logo on the thumbnail increases like conversion because people are like, oh, this is actually a video that's coming from YouTube, or does it not really affect it? Like people, I did
not test that, to be honest. We do have a control so that you can like turn it on and off.
Yep.
But I did not I don't have any data to see if like, will this convert better if it has a YouTube logo or not. It could be a very interesting A/B test.
Yeah, could be. Sure. I mean, not to preempt too much, but you're fully focused on YouTube right now, but I imagine, there's a lot of other videos that are coming from other platforms. So when might you expect that? I mean,
so we've just, we're doubling our engineering team. So, which is, that's a lot more opportunity.
Is that from 2 to 4? Is that?
No, it's actually so we had 3 full-time. Right now we have 3 full-time, 2 part-time. So people like started, growing since February, for like our beta testing. And now, we're growing to maybe 6, I'm hoping 7 full-time engineers, they're going to go working on this product. That's the goal for the next month.
Okay. And there's one more question from Andy. Sorry, I'm just peppering you right now, but he wants to know if the app is able to discern dissentment. No, what's the word? It's to discern. What's the word when it's like positive or negative? Anyways, sentiment. Thank you.
Yes.
Sometimes my brain like operates at a pace where it just merges words. But anyways, yes. Can you discern sentiment and therefore only recommend videos that are positive or negative? And actually, building on that, is it sometimes useful to have negative reviews of products so that people believe that these are more authentic? Because I know that's true on Amazon.
Let me tell you this. So you're trying to create a shopping experience with your video. Okay, imagine you're going to shop, for a brand new suit. Would you like to go in a tailor shop that has all of their suits, I don't know, with stains on them and all dirty, that's your main presentation right there. It's not like text review.
Isn't that?
Exactly. So you want to present, your product in the best way you can, right? In the best image possible. And by the way, Nichole does vocabulary cards, so she knows her words. Like, do not mess with Nichole, right? Any advice you want in terms of vocabulary, like, go to Nichole.
Cool. She was like, no, the word you want is sentiment. I was like, you're right.
Yes.
You're
right.
But to answer Andy's question, and Andy, you're trying to like really peek into my future, by the way, and you're trying to like, get me to say things on what our future plans are.
He's just trying to understand.
Right.
Now with lots of great questions here. I love it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So yes, part of our AI that we're launching, we're going to include video transcript from both collected videos and the YouTube videos, and we will be able to do sentiment analysis on that, which is amazing. So that's how we're going to help you moderate, by doing a sentiment analysis on the video. There are a lot more other conditions on the AI. I don't want to tell too much about it. I want us to launch it and for you to see it yourself and how it works. I'm very excited.
So I want to be mindful.
I feel
time a little bit, right? So I think the next thing that I want to see would be like the reports, just to get a sense for like how that is affecting, the store. And then, we did tease this, but I think there are some questions about the business angle, specifically around your pitch deck and around, raising money and just getting into that realm. This is specifically a question that Thomas had. I'll just channel it. You can sort of be thinking about it in the back of your mind, and then we can see the reports. But he's working on a product now, which he's bootstrapping. He's running low on cash. And so he wants to know, should he start looking for seed money, or is it okay to look for a low amount in the beginning to finish the product, or look for a bigger VC investment so that you have longer runway? I think that would be a super interesting question for you to talk about in terms of your own experience in bootstrapping and how that process works. But let's finish up the product and go from there.
I'm quickly going to go through the report section because this is a test site and it won't have any reports.
Right, of course.
So,
fair. Ron, influenced revenue. Ron, I like that. That's a new metric for me.
Oh no, we're tracking currency, so we automatically track the currency.
Oh. I thought it was like return on nudes or something. I don't know.
No. This is Romanian, currency. So the store is set for currency.
So that would be USD elsewhere.
USD, it's just a dollar.
BTC, ETH, whatever. Got it.
Exactly.
Right. On Tesla's site, right? Tesla.com, it would be all Bitcoin. All right, continue.
Nichole, I think for Thomas, Nichole, can you provide the Twitter thread from Andrew Wilkinson, the one that you shared with me about his failure with Flow? That's a very good thread instead of, regarding to bootstrapping and taking money. So Thomas, Nichole is going to share a Twitter thread, and I'm going to tell you about my experience and what I've chosen to do. But just quickly with reports, we track the usual suspects, the click rate, the average view time, how many videos were watched, how have we influenced your time on site, like by how much we've increased it. And then one cool thing is we track influence orders. Like this stat, obviously, like this is a bad image for me right now in this test store because it says 0. But that's very cool, Thomas. Nice to meet you. Salud. By influence orders, what we track is we consider that if a person watched the video in the same browser instance and then they immediately purchased the product, we consider that we had some sort of an influence over that purchasing decision, right? It just common sense tells you that, right? Like they watched the video, they spent some time watching the video, and then they purchased the product within the same browser instance. We had something to do with it. We do not put our pricing on this number in any way because, you could debate it. Absolutely, you could debate it like, well, it wasn't influenced directly by you, how can you guarantee that? I cannot guarantee it. But common sense tells me that if I offered that really good presentation for a product and they purchase it afterwards, it means that I had something to do with it. So we just track it for now and we let people know, but people got amazing results. We have customers paying $49 and they're getting like $4,000 in influence revenues of just people watching the video and then in the same browser instance buying the product, right? So it's a very important metric for us and people are excited about it because they can see, this is the metric that tells them that the product is working for them along with time on site increase. So the customer engagement, they can see that people are actually watching the videos of their products. Now, to answer, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thomas, to answer your question in terms of bootstrapping, and I'm just going to talk from my own experience. This might not work for everyone, and this is how I've done things. I started bootstrapping with my own capital, and it was fine. I guess it was fine. But when I got the pre-seed round from Ed, I felt, like a lift. I almost felt, like a jump in terms of progress. And I would strongly recommend if you do not have the amount of capital, like if you do not have $1 million, for a big company, that you're like that's just sitting there, and you have nothing to do with it, then I recommend raising because it just helps you grow much faster. Obviously, you're going to have to give something away from your company. But it's better that, your percentage left, whatever it is, 80%, 90%, 50%, it's worth something than your 100% that might not be worth anything, right? And I think, Nichole, she shared a very good Twitter thread from Andrew from Tiny Capital, who's an amazing entrepreneur. And he shared his story about Flow and Asana. Please read it. You're going to see, that's a very good lesson in terms of bootstrapping and raising capital. So my experience and what I recommend is raise capital is going to help you grow faster, but raise smart money. Do not just rely on checks. Get smart money from people who can actually provide true value in your startup and can help you grow, right? Don't just take the money, also get the value from that person. Warm intros, for example, partnerships. Like, one thing it's been a green light for all of us, and I know we're going, over time a bit, is, and this was very cool for us. So we're raising right now a seed round. We're in the process of raising a seed round. We're overly committed. We just started 2 weeks ago. We're overcommitted. I don't want to say any amounts right now because it's going to be published. I think by the end of the month, it's going to be in the press and all that. But all of our partners, this was a green light for us. All of our partnerships that we've established, they are also investing in us because they see the opportunity in this product, right? Then all of our angel investors are very high execs, usually in Silicon Valley or across the states, that are very well connected to big retailers, to big companies, big e-commerce companies. And they can set up those warm intros for us. They can set up those partnerships as well. So try to raise from those people. Don't just get the check, get smart checks. That's what I recommend.
That I would just to build on that. Essentially capital has become a bit of a commodity. And actually this will sort of give you one more question, I think, and then maybe we'll wrap in a few minutes. But there was a question about how you got your first, 10 customers, and what are traction channels that worked well. But one of the things that's really important is to, as I said, capital is basically becoming commodity. It's very accessible. There's a lot of it out in the world. People are looking for return on their investment. And so getting access to funds isn't really the hard part, at least compared to where it used to be.
Right.
That said, if you want to be able to raise money, you want to have some proof that what you're building is what people want, which of course is the YC mantra, that, build something that people want, because you might think that the problem that you're solving is interesting, but ultimately it isn't actually a business or isn't something that a lot of people want. So starting with that is like a really good discipline to have, and it makes those conversations when you're raising money a lot easier. One thing that I will point out that Product Hunt has offered, and by the way, just to be clear, I don't work for Product Hunt. I'm a hunter on Product Hunt. I'm an influencer on Product Hunt, but I don't work there. They did launch something recently called Maker Grants, and this is $5,000 for people who are working on some sort of like side hustle, and they need that extra boost, to basically I wouldn't even say become ramen profitable, but just buy the ramen in the first place so you don't die of starvation. That might be an option to give you a little bit of a bridge as a grant before you need to go and raise that capital. So that is an option to consider. One question before you answer the other piece about your first 10 questions. Nima is very focused on your backend programming language. He wants to know, what did you write this in? What did you build this in?
So our app is using Angular, JS, and then our widgets are using React, and also our the way that we're collecting video reviews, we're using a React app that, you can collect video reviews from any phone, even your webcam, any desktop. You don't need any separate app. Click on the button in our email that we send to customers, selfie camera opens up, record, agree to terms, send. That's it. Super simple. So,
awesome. Great. Okay. So just let's jump over to how you got your first 10 customers, which you did talk a little bit at the beginning, but I feel like there was a little bit of I don't want to call it a hand wave, but there was no customers in January when you first launched this, and then some customers. Yeah. And why don't just to bring this full circle, why don't you talk a little about the Product Hunt launch and how that fits into your plans and maybe some of the things you're doing next?
Absolutely. So we have covered the 10 customers. They just came organically. It was very tough in the beginning. We didn't do any marketing outreach. It was all from organic searching on Shopify. People were searching for this app on Shopify. They were trying to get product videos on their stores. That's it. We didn't do anything. The first 2 months were tough, but it got better, and I recommend, even Thomas, do product market fit. You need to be 100% sure that your product has market fit. So yeah, you need to be honest with yourself. Otherwise it's not going to work. And in terms of our Product Hunt launch, we planned on doing, we're using Product Hunt just to get the word out there about our company, about our product. Even though Product Hunt might not have a huge and massive e-commerce audience, I know the culture that it has and the audience it can reach, right, when you have a successful launch. So we already have 3 integrations, but we're just doing 1 launch for Shopify because it's easier to market. And I think Nichole has a separate event today. Nichole, what hour is your event at? Sorry, I don't remember.
It's okay. It's at 5:30 p.m.
Yeah, so she has a marketing event where she's going to be talking a lot more about marketing. And we're using Product Hunt, and we're going to be using Product Hunt for all of our launches. And we're launching 1 platform at a time so that we can, make the most out of that, the marketing for that platform. Even though we got WooCommerce, we got Magento, they're already working. We're going to market them, 1 month at a time. So every 4 weeks, we're going to do a big event on Product Hunt. I'm going to use Chris as well because, he's obviously generating so much value for us. And we're doing this experimental live, Product Hunt event. I think this was great so far, to be honest. I really love this.
Totally. And just to build on what you're saying, because I think from a Product Hunt strategy, this is one that I do recommend. Product Hunt kind of restricts your ability to launch the same product on Product Hunt more than once without having gone through sort of a major evolution. In other words, going from a 1.0 to a 2.0, or having some other it needs to feel like it's a new product and it needs to feel like it's current. So one of the ideas that you can do is kind of break down your, let's say, suite of products or features into individual launches that each tell their own story. And so that's what's happening here, where the platforms that Reeview becomes available on may have a slightly different story, a slightly different user base, a slightly different feature set. And so each of those launches, those incremental launches, allows an individual product story to be told for each of them, while also creating more exposure to the Product Hunt ecosystem. So that's kind of the thought here.
Exactly, Chris. Thank you so much for explaining it to everyone. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I think, I even said in the chat, the questions were amazing. I don't want to tell too much about what we're doing. Follow us. This is going to be a hot summer for Reeview. I keep saying that. Trust me, we're going to be very busy this summer. Follow us, and we're going to grow really, really fast.
So this is awesome. I just sent in the link for the other event that we're doing. Funny enough, Claudiu is finally going to get a little bit of rest, given like his time zone. We're going to be doing design and cocktails in my evening for his morning. So I don't know if he's going to be doing a Bloody Mary or coffee or some other kind of like beverage.
Coffee. It's not considered a cocktail, but
Irish coffee, sure. Put a little
it's still
a little vodka in there, whatever you want. A little sort of Romanian brew. Anyways, I don't know what they drink in Romania. Blood, obviously, duh. But we're gonna be mixing some drinks this evening, and then what I'm excited to do, which I've never done before, is we're gonna be having Claudiu actually streaming from Figma some of the designs that he's worked on to show the iterative process, to really go behind the scenes from a product design perspective. So we've talked a bit more about business and marketing, and as a startup founder, of course, you're doing all the different things, but Claudiu's passion really is in like design. And so we really wanted to have that conversation and get into the nitty gritty of that world. So
I'm really excited about that. I'm actually going to show where this actually started from the very beginning. So
yeah, see, Thomas, I don't know, like Claudiu is going to be up at 5 a.m., so I don't know why you can't make it. I'm just kidding.
I will be up at 5 a.m. Absolutely.
But so this event is being recorded, and we are going to post the video of this to my Superpeer profile, and that event will also be recorded, and you'll be able to find it there too. So if you RSVP, you'll be notified of the event. Whether you're able to attend live or not, you'll still be able to get access to the recording. So
thank you, Chris.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Cool. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate it.
And by the way, of course, last thing before we go, do check out Reeview on Product Hunt. I've got the link here somewhere. Let us know what you think. Try it out. Obviously, if you know someone who's selling on Shopify, please let them know about this to check it out as well. And for that, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, guys.
Thanks
this is
so
fun.
much. Thanks, everyone.
Talk to you guys in a couple hours.
Bye.
Ciao.